crushing the player, because I know where the leaks come from. There's a lot of leaks from the Cowboys side, protecting the enterprise and protecting the brand. And there's stories here that he wasn't good in the weight room. He didn't get treatment regularly. He participated in walkthroughs, but his behavior could be odd. And, in the locker room, he was kind of a deflating energy. A lot of this stuff I don't want to get into because I know where it's coming from. The Cowboys got crushed for this move, and now they want to make it look like, well, the Packers are getting damaged goods here. The Packers are getting a playmaker. But I still support the move. Now, I talked to somebody over the weekend, I don't think Micah was the most popular guy in the locker room. Albert Breer reported that Zach Martin, CeeDee Lamb, and Dak are more popular. That's okay. By the way, Jalen Hurts, believe it or not, is not the most beloved player in the Eagles locker room. Saquon Barkley is loved in that locker room. Jalen Hurts, a little hit and miss, does his own thing. Not everybody loved Peyton Manning. He would bark at his friends, Jeff Saturday. I don't care if the quarterback, Troy Aikman, legendary, barking at coaches, barking at players. So I don't care if you're the most loved guy. But I will say this. When you pay a guy $47 million, and that's what he wanted, you got to have the cake made, right? Like they needed in Dallas, because they're not Green Bay. They don't have the culture right now or the leadership. They needed Micah Parsons to be more than just see ball, go get it. And that's largely what he was. He's just going to go wreck a play. The problem is they have a weak coaching staff right now in Dallas. It's not a great roster. It may not be a great culture. And here's the thing. When you're going to give $47 million to a guy and you're still kind of in a soft rebuild, you need him more than just have IG followers and some sacks. And Dallas now, to me, has flexibility. And Jerry Jones has always played himself off as a big deal maker, and he's an oil catter, kind of a maverick, right? He was a pushback guy. If you watch the documentary on Netflix, he's a wildcatter, they called it. So he was a deal maker. The problem is the last 2 years, they can't make any deals.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that they can't make any deals. He didn't want to make any deals. He could have made deals. He could have done things to boost this roster up over the years, and he did not. I mean, back-to-back years, he could have went out and got a Derrick Henry or a Saquon Barkley when they both were available in different years. And he didn't. And that would have been huge in both respective years. And that's just one example off the top of my head. But yeah, I think Colin brings up a good point about where some of these leaks come from, and Colin is going to directly understand where they come from and all of that. That's his own personal connections and expertise, so it makes total sense. But I think, it's interesting to look at it as the Dallas Cowboys have flexibility, because they do. They undeniably do. And I've said this, that Jerry Jones, say what you will about him, like, he has built some really good teams over the years. And he's drafted incredibly well over the years. And so if you give him draft picks, like, that's going to be great. The problem is, if the Packers are great, then those draft picks are are lower now, or lower. So there's the potential that those are 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, which isn't the best case scenario for the Cowboys. The way you really make a steal here is if you do trade them to a team, trade someone like a Micah to a team and get that draft capital, and it's to a team that is not going to be so great over the next couple of years, and now you can turn those picks into like a top 10 pick, right? Then that ends up being kind of massive, and then you really can kind of turn your team around in a blink of the eye, and that's kind of an interesting situation where you could find yourself where you could have 2 draft picks in the top 10, and it's just like, get your quarterback and you get your lineman or whatever, right? Like, it's just things can happen fast, or your new defensive big dog out there. So I don't know. I'm still very much maintaining that the timeline for the various players and the coaching staff, that it's just, I don't see how this all connects, honestly. I really, really don't. It just seems that the various players that you have right now are just going to be incompatible with the various timelines of when you're going to be able to draft these players, Dak's age, CD's age. Like I just don't see it. I really don't. And Colin's saying that the Cowboys are flexible right now, but flexible to do what? Flexible to do what? And who's pulling this all together from a coaching perspective? I mean, we saw Eberflus was a mess with the Chicago Bears. And I still maintain that I think he's a good defensive coach. And so when Colin says, oh, there was problems defensively, I'm like, well, I think Micah probably could have worked well with Eberflus. But I wouldn't be surprised if, like, no matter what this looks like, that Schottenheimer gets at least, 3 years or something. And just don't think that's going to work. And maybe you keep Eberflus, and so that defense continues to be pretty solid. Or you're in a situation where maybe Schottenheimer gets let go, but then maybe Eberflus becomes that. Because again, Jerry likes to save people. And it's just like, they don't know what they were doing in Chicago, but we think Eberflus is a great head coach. I don't trust that the decision making on that front. And so again, I'm just kind of like, I don't know what the timeline is, because let's say Schottenheimer's not the coach to bring this all together. I know, shocking to even remotely imagine that as a possibility. You're then talking about having 2-3 years of not really being able to quite bring your potential there. And now within 2-3 years, you're going to use those draft picks, but they're going to be, first year, second year players. Take a minute or two to get them up to speed. You're going to have to hire a new coach. Dak Prescott's going to now be entering his late 30s. Okay? CD Lamb is now going to start to be like, he's 30, he's 31. You're at that age. Now you're going to have to draft a quarterback. You're going to have to find another weapon or two from the receiving standpoint. Even if now you have a running back or you draft a running back this year, you're going to start wasting his early young prime years out the gate with having a team with the coaching staff that's not quite right. It's just everything just feels incompatible with one another. Which is why I said, if you want to be flexible, then you go all in and be flexible. If you want to do kind of like a soft rebuild, just do the rebuild. A soft rebuild kind of works if you have maybe the right coach in place or the right quarterback in place for a long-term perspective, right? Not someone that's already getting up there in age. If you have someone who's 26 or something, and you can all right, we can have a year or two that's not ideal. But that's not the situation that you're in right now. So that's why I'm so firm on that. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. If you're a Cowboys fan, I just don't know where the optimism comes from. I'm inherently pretty optimistic. I can find the positive in any situation. And I'm the type of person where I could be down 42-0, 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and I still believe there's a chance. I'm like, okay, touchdown, onside kick, touchdown, onside kick, touchdown, onside kick. Okay, forced fumble, touchdown. I can find the optimism and the belief in any situation. I just genuinely don't see where it comes from here. I really don't. I just don't. And so that's why I kind of keep asking. It's just what's the plan? What's the direction you're looking to build this into? And you just have a handful of really great players that are now just kind of being wasted because you can't tie it all together. And you have now draft capital that you're going to use into the future, but then you're not then utilizing what you have now, you're most likely going to have to hire another coach in the next few years. Like, I don't know. I, I really don't. I mean, I think maybe the best case scenario for the Cowboys, I guess, and even this is kind of a bit of a waste. This coming draft, you draft your quarterback for the future. You let him sit behind Dak and learn and grow and evolve. And by his like second year, then I guess you can kind of now move on from Dak, bring in that new quarterback. Now you get to utilize a CD Lamb, who's obviously now already like an experienced wide receiver, and you kind of start that train now going a little bit in the right direction. But I just don't feel like that's what they're going to do. And you paid Dak Prescott all that money, like, so if anything, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, this is going to be like 2, 3, 4 years down the road, new coach, like new quarterback, like it just feels like a mess. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Dallas Cowboys? Do you think it was the right time to move off Micah? Do you agree with Colin that it leaves the Cowboys a lot more flexible right now? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.